Hey everybody, welcome to Enhance Not Distract podcast, a little bonus podcast this week as Blackmagic just made their camera and ATEM announcement update. I've got Jordan with me today, and we just really wanted to kind of touch base on a couple of the things that got announced. Sean and I did a full live stream, which you can go check that out on the YouTube channel. But yeah, let's talk about kind of what they announced, what we think about it, what they like about it, what they don't like about it. I would like to point out, Jordan, is that me and Sean, when we were waiting for the announcement to go live, Sean asked me what I hoped that they did. And what I said was, man, I really hope that they come out with a full-blown ATEM that ISO records. Because we've been talking about, for my church, recording service and then making them go fake live later.
Yeah.
And the ISO recording full DaVinci Resolve, thing is such a smooth way to do that. And so let's just kick it off there. They announced their ATEM television HD8 ISO. Well, I mean, the two versions, but an ISO version. And so I looked at Sean and I was like, called it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the ISO is such a great thing for churches and just really anybody that wants to have an isolated recording of each camera and each source so that you can go back and either fix a bad dissolve, a bad cut, bad transition, bad shot, whatever it may be. It just gives you a lot of flexibility. And that's the thing, Blackmagic releases are maybe not on the level of Apple releases at this point, but they are really good, and we got to pay attention to what they're doing because they're making some big moves. And, straight away, doubling down on the ATEM platform with the SDI ISO, giving that tool set to consumers and users. And I think one of the things that I probably love about Blackmagic the most is, and I tell people all the time, if you stay in their environment, you get all their gear, things just work. So getting the ISO, but then being able to bring that into DaVinci, that's just huge. That's going to be a huge time saver for you. And can do a lot of different things. Bringing the ISO to the ATEM SDI, to the Television Studio HD 8. That's really good. I thought another thing as well, we love Blackmagic cameras, but their studio cam just kind of often I feel like gets overlooked. But I think it's really great for churches. You've got a 7-inch LCD screen in the back, or LED. I'm not even sure what it is.
We've got two of them.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they're just great platforms, I think, to build off of, and really going to help your users, help you're getting camera shots that you really want. I think they're just kind of an underrated platform, in my opinion. Big monitor, loads of different connection types, powering over Ethernet, which is really great. Pairing that up with one of the studio kind of receivers, I think that's a really great thing. And the other big thing, I don't know that we really talk about a lot, because a lot of the larger productions we're probably a part of, it's always there. But communication, comms, if you are trying to bring your production to the next level, comms is huge, and that studio cam will support that, and so will a bunch of their other gear. And that's not new, but that is so huge, I think, for a lot of churches. If you want to take your production to the next level and you're not doing comms, get comms. And Blackmagic has got a nice built-in way to do that. So, anything else from some of their switcher stuff?
Yeah, I mean, real quick on that whole comms thing, I'm a little disappointed that they don't have their own comms. That they have the infrastructure, but they don't have their own headsets. And it's just
right.
I'm an ecosystem guy, so it's I like the idea of being able to buy Blackmagic switcher, Blackmagic camera, and then be able to buy a Blackmagic headset. But have it be in a standard that, he said, is common, so that if you want your ClearCom or just whatever other company it is, you still have the capability of that. But I can stay inside of my ecosystem and be happy.
Yeah.
I wish I would have liked that, and they probably could have made a bunch of money off of it. But some of the stuff that I thought was really cool was the internal recording capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So on the ATEM. So It's
Yeah.
not, like I record everything on these like little Samsung T5s,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
being able to, like, on a lot of the minis, there's like the USB-C is either for ingesting on the computer or recording onto a drive. Now
Yeah.
I get to use that USB-C for something different on this ATEM. I get to
Yeah.
record internally on an M2, which is a superior hard drive than even like what's in these guys.
Yeah.
Like that was a big deal for me, and then it
Yeah.
automatically acts as the cloud uh, storage device that Blackmagic has now. So like I can go to my computer and I can pull that up and it shows as a
Hmm.
like a network mounted device
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
can pull all that data from, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So
No, that yeah, you don't have to kind of mess around. I think that's the other thing too is you're not having to carry around in one of those drives. It's built in, it's ready to go, it's ready to rock. Um,
yeah,
and it's right on board. And like, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I haven't loved the ATEM mini platform so much is early on, especially like lack of a multi-view. But yeah, when the ISO and when the recording is internal, yeah, you'll free up that USB port for a lot of different things. So
yeah,
you're
and
totally
being in the
right.
television series, you get the multi-view and a program view, and you get an aux view. So it's like it kind of gave us everything. What I'm really curious to know is, so there's a 4-port network switch integrated in the back of it. And I'm really
Mm-hmm.
curious, like for people like, like the church you work at, you have dual ISPs.
Yep.
Can I dump dual ISPs into the ATEM? And if I'm streaming from the ATEM, if one ISP goes down, will it still pick up the other one?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm kind of curious to see, like how much is there. But yeah, there was just a ton of little things that they added that I thought was really awesome. And honestly, I was like, my mind was really blown by the cost. When me and Sean were watching the live stream, I thought that the normal non-ISO one was going to be like $69.95, and if they came up with an ISO version, it was going to be like $89.95. And the fact that I think it was less than $3,000 was what the normal one. Yeah, $29.95, and then the
Yep.
ISO version was $39.95. Both of those were cheaper than what I thought the cheap one was going to be, which
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
honestly like the mind blowing. Like me and Sean kind of did one of these, like whoa.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is kind of old heads like you and I that have been around this for a while. And certainly some of our listeners and watchers as well. Like, that's what I think just really makes Blackmagic really attractive is just their economics, but then also just the high quality. Like
Yeah.
I've kind of really started to think, especially as we've been doing this podcast, is we're kind of in a golden age of technology and cost. 15 years ago to get some of this stuff, I mean, you're talking about like 6 figures, but
Yeah.
hey, you could build a whole rig for, like a solid rig for like 50 grand. Like, that's really impressive.
A
It's
solid, like a really solid rig.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. And again, you mentioned it earlier. Like, we stay in that ecosystem, and man, hey, we don't need to show a camera operator volunteer how to adjust color on the camera. We can just do it remotely from the switcher. Like, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
I just I think that's why Blackmagic has been just at the front lines of this stuff, is just because they keep some of these costs down and keep it in reach. So, and it
I
is
think
good
for
stuff.
me, the next big thing for me is one of the features that got added to the studio camera and one of the features that got added to the A10. They go in tandem,
Mm-hmm.
and for two different reasons. And it's the streaming capability, like you mentioned. The reasons why I think that that's a big deal is we're starting to be in a world now where if we say in the church market, more churches are starting to do multiple campuses. And so when if you have this ATEM at your main campus and you're broadcasting to your secondary campuses, and now you have the capability of taking a camera specifically with you to one of those other campuses, and then you're able to broadcast from that campus to that ATEM at the
Yep.
main campus. like
Yep.
internally, essentially, like it's on its own SDI, and it's
Yeah.
latency if you have the internet connection of like I think it's 50 meg up or 40 meg up. You
Hmm.
can do within 2 frame latency of that,
Yeah.
which is
that is nuts.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then
No,
the other cool thing is, yeah. Sorry, we're on a little bit of a delay. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to just kind of refresh people. It is going from the camera, and you can either kind of go over a mobile phone or internet connection or something like that, and then it's being ingested via an ATEM streaming bridge. So that's kind of Blackmagic's IP video streaming device, and then it comes into an ATEM, which still like that you get the camera, a streaming bridge, and an ATEM, and you have basically a remote camera wherever you want.
You don't
That's
need the streaming bridge;
incredible.
it's all built in.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah. So that was the update. Is
wow,
that like the camera has the web presenter built into it, and then the ATEM has the streaming bridge built into it.
okay,
So you don't even need those extra ones. And so that's what I'm saying is like, and then during the summer when churches do like in the park, you don't, like
yeah,
instead of having to rip all your equipment out,
yep,
hey, we're going to dumb this down. It's going to be one camera. We're going to plug
yep,
someone's cell phone into it. We're going to send it back to the main campus, and we can still live stream our Sunday morning service just like we would with maybe a little bit less
yeah,
production. Super
yep,
simplistic.
yeah. And if you've got an older ATEM, then that's where that streaming bridge comes in. So, and
Right.
or
Yep.
if
The
you are
stream
one of those
bridge.
receiving sites, that's where you can bring
Yep.
in a streaming bridge as well. So, yeah.
Yep.
So it's maybe a little deceptive, like, oh, we're live streaming, but to get back home to a control room, I still think that's pretty incredible. And it just takes a
Yep.
lot of the bits and bobs out of it as well to do that. So,
Yep. I
um,
think the next big thing for me was the other camera that came out, the 6K
okay,
studio camera, production camera with EF
yeah,
mount. And I think that that's
hmm,
great because you have a pocket camera that has EF, you have Ursa's with EF, now you have the studio camera that has EF. So you technically could be in all of those realms, and it live streams as well. So like you can actually stream right to YouTube or Twitch or whatever with that camera, which is great.
mm,
So now I'm sitting in there doing something like this, and I could just be streaming live with this one camera with the EF, take the lens off and put it on my, pocket camera
yep,
and go and film a commercial later if I wanted to.
yep.
Bunch of
Because
bunch of really nice
that's
stuff.
the thing with the Blackmagic cameras, right? It's you got to get quality lenses, and now if those lenses are interchangeable between all their different camera bodies, awesome. Maybe you've got the
Yeah.
studio cameras in your sanctuary, you're running those for services, but then, your creative communication team is running pocket cinema cams. Um, you're
Yeah.
no longer having to invest in a bunch of different glass. So, although I
Yeah.
guess
That's all
I probably would,
interchangeable.
yeah, I wouldn't recommend pulling the lenses off of your cameras in your sanctuary too much. Um, but if you're tight and there's only one of those lenses, yeah, maybe.
Which I would assume most people are landing in that realm. So
Hmm. Hmm.
cool. Did you have anything else? That was pretty much everything for me.
Yeah. I think the other big thing. Well, I guess I got two things. The other big thing is the audio unit that was released.
Mm. Yeah, with
Audio
Maddie.
input. Yeah, with Maddie. Um, just getting more audio sources into again the ATEM environment. I don't know if I think it's good that they're aware of that because it's audio and video is the
Hmm.
broadcast usually. Um, I don't know if most people are really going to be mixing in an ATEM environment. Just some of the lack of maybe effects and things like that, but that you can at least get more in. I think they're thinking in the right direction. And I think this is kind of one of their first, if not only, like audio only devices that they've released. I don't.
So
Maybe correct me if I'm wrong.
so no, so they have AES audio devices. But that's more like for like master bus, type things that are being sent
Hmm.
out,
Hmm.
not individual like plug a microphone into it. I think where
Right.
this comes
Right.
in again is that ISO recorder, because
Hmm.
now if you think about this, if you're recording a podcast, or just some sort of live event, I can have four microphones plugged directly into that, and then it's going to give me the ISO recording of all those audio channels. So when I bring that into
Yep.
Resolve, then I have all of my Waves plugins and everything I can do from there. And again, if it's one of those, even if it's not, if you're in a situation with PA, you still have the chance of, okay, well, give me four outs and then send those four microphones to the direct outs over here and give me raw audio unprocessed from your main system. And then
Right.
if I'm live streaming, I have that individual control of EQ and stuff. But then if I'm ISO recording, you know, it just gives us a little bit more additive, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. And again, just another way to get your audio into the ecosystem. So
Yeah.
I will say I was a little bummed that we're saying goodbye to the TV Studio HD. Just a 1RU kind of mini or like half rack unit. I love those things. It was always really nice too to have SDI, but
But
then
we got the
some
Constellation.
HDMI. Yeah, I guess as much as I don't like HDMI, it was always just kind of nice and convenient to have some input on those. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Constellation. If you're in a serious production environment, that's the way you want to go. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree.
otherwise, I mean, again, just another round of impressive product coming down. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
interested to
super
see where they
stoked.
go and where they go.
What would you grade this announcement?
Um,
You want me to tell you mine first?
I well, I mean, put me on the spot. Like I'd probably like say 6 out of 10. Like there isn't any. Like I don't know that there's anything like super groundbreaking. It was kind of a like feature sets we've already seen in other product line put into different models. Um,
Yeah.
but still,
I
like
I
just
gave it
positive over 5. So
I gave it an A minus because I
okay,
felt like there was things that I still wanted to see, but like the fact that I got a full blown ATEM that I can ISO record on, and all of the improvements that they made to like the audio control, and like the fact that I can do everything without having to open up the software on the computer, hands down awesome, like amazing.
yep,
Built-in talkback for studio, for control room, and for like, yeah,
yeah,
all that kind of stuff is super super exciting.
yeah. I mean, look, we all love New Gear Day. Like anytime that stuff is released, I'm encouraged. It is positive. So,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
it's just not like
I got one of I've
it's
got
not
one
the
of the
product
ATEMs
release where it's
coming,
like
so
I know I needed this or I didn't know I needed this. So
yeah. I've got one of the ATEMs coming, so you'll have to come over and play with it when it gets here.
sounds good. I've got to. I'm working with one right now that's kind of throwing me a curveball, but it might be. Yeah, I'm
It's
working
video
on it.
world. Everything throws you a curveball.
This is true. It's
Just be glad you're
video
not in
is
lighting
finicky.
world.
Yeah, but there's standards
Awesome.
there. Well, I guess there's standards there in video. So yeah, but yeah, overall really good.
Yeah.
Love to hear people's thoughts and comments. Leave comments down below or shoot us a note. Um, tell us what you thought about the release. Tell us what you thought about what your favorite product was, and tell us what you're ordering. What are you going to pick up and put in a requisition for or PO for at your church?
Yeah. Yeah. Love to know. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Make sure you subscribe and give us a review and share this with 4 friends.